welcome to the Congo Hour. My name is Trippy, joined this evening by Wayna. We want to thank you so much for watching, and right now Wayna is going to run down who our guests are going to be this evening.
Is that what I'm going to do first?
If you don't mind.
I do mind. The
Okay.
first thing that I want to talk about
It's your
is
world.
it is Wayna's world. Huh?
Yes, it is.
Last week I called Trippy to not say I was sick. I just said bah humbug. And I've gotten so many text messages, calls, and even team members here have said that you like really went on and on and on about it. And I just listened to it, and you
Maybe
did.
I was just upset because you weren't here, and I enjoy us doing this together, and it was just a huge letdown. So I was just venting. So I apologize for being emotional.
Apology accepted.
That's how much I love you, Wayna. And then now you're going to try to twist it around. You're going to let other people come in between our friendship. That hurts. It really does. Can we go to break? I can't tell you. I need a tissue.
Here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Unbelievable. How you been anyway?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well.
I like your outfit. That's nice. That's a nice dress.
Gee, thank
That's
you.
nice. So, yeah, I'm going to do better. I'm going to be nice.
appreciate
This
that.
whole entire hour, I'm going to be nice to Wayna.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
I really
All right.
do. I had a great weekend.
All right.
On last evening, I was one of the county executives' guests at the 100th Piedmont anniversary. So, and that was at the Chase Center. It was a great event.
Remind me to mention something.
About that?
No, just remind me.
Okay, remind you to mention something. All right. There was something else I did. I always got to work backwards. I forget it'll come to me later, and I'll say it because I definitely wanted to give a shout out to where I went. But as always, we have, I don't want to, well, it's going to be fun and exciting, but very informative. We have Big Keeve coming on to talk about his town hall meetings that he's had.
Okay.
And I know like the very first one he had was a big success. It was jam-packed. So he has a series of them that he's going to do.
I think the next one is April 26th.
Yes,
Yeah,
very
so
good.
we'll make sure that we support
Yes.
that effort.
And then Dr. Donald is coming on to talk about the mayoral debate that's coming up next Monday
Okay.
at Ezon Fair. And then last but certainly not least, we have Councilman President Theo Gregory, who is running for mayor, and he's going to come on and share the reason why he's running.
Okay.
Community announcements, birthdays, anniversaries, and what else? Or
we
did you
have
do
a-
the
we have-
anniversary last week?
We have our funeral announcements
And
towards the
funeral.
end of the
Yes.
show. Yes, well, what's today? Thursday, I think. It was my dad's birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a picture of him. I don't think we do.
Oh, we can pull one up off of
Yeah.
Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We
He
can
celebrated
definitely do that.
his 78th birthday, I think,
Yes.
on April the 8th. Carolyn Fields, one of our team members, her birthday was on April the 7th.
And we have a picture of her
Do
that we better
Okay.
show.
I think she celebrated her 50th.
Yes. This
Yeah.
is the year
Yeah.
of the 50th people.
Yeah. And yours is coming up in May, right? You'll be 50?
Yes.
All right. Are you going to have anything?
Of course.
Are you?
You're giving it.
Oh, that's
You
right.
love me so
Oh,
much.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, can't wait. It's going to be nice. It's going to be so nice, y'all. Yeah.
I can't wait to find out more about it.
Me either.
You celebrated your mom's last week, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we announced hers last week.
All right. So, want to take what's going on in your life?
Oh, I'm glad. So you're running for council, right?
Yes.
Right. So someone actually, I think it was we haven't been on the show together since.
About 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, when you first mentioned it on here, someone called up, Councilwoman Loretta Walsh.
Oh.
And said that I was getting you to run against her.
I know.
Did you?
We talked.
You heard that?
She told me.
Did she?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
I couldn't believe that. So, like a grown person would actually watch the show and then call her and try to start something like that. That was crazy.
I don't
couldn't
know.
believe it.
But I went to a meeting. It was the mayor's budget address. And I went to her not knowing your conversation. And she asked me, did you send me? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? She's like, Trippy didn't tell you?
Yeah, I purposely
was
didn't
like,
even mention
no.
it to you because I wanted to just have like I wanted your reaction to be genuine,
Oh,
like
okay.
when I first mentioned it to
Yeah.
you. But I didn't know that you knew.
And I never brought it back up to you
Right,
either.
right.
But yeah, we
That's
had
crazy.
a talk.
First of all, you're going at large, so whoever goes at large, uh, there are 3 people who go at large, so you can vote for 3 people. So I don't know, understand why somebody would conceive or believe that I would. First of all, how can I even get you to run? You're a grown woman, so I can't make you run against anybody. I can't make you run, period.
Right.
And then to
Well,
say,
it's something that's been on my heart for a while.
yeah, and then to say I
do.
want you to run, not only to run, but run against Loretta. Like I don't have anything against Loretta. That was kind of
That
crazy.
bothered you.
I don't know if it bothered me, but maybe a little bit, but
You're
not
acting like it is. or
yeah, that
did.
somebody would do that. That somebody would say, but somebody would call her and say that I'm getting you to run against her, when you all can run together. Like
It's
they can vote
politics.
for right. They can vote for you and her and
Right.
somebody else.
It's politics.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that she did say. She says on all of her material, she lets it be known that it's not just 1 seat, but
Right.
it's 3 seats. So honestly, I shared with her
Mm-hmm.
that I hope that some of the people, the seasoned people that are there, that are still running,
Right.
I pray that they get reelected, because we need some seasoned people on council. So if all the seasoned people are leaving,
Right.
everybody's coming in is like kind of sort of brand new. So
Right.
yeah. So, but I'm looking forward to sitting on council.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have you started
I am.
campaigning yet?
I have. You weren't here. I had my
Oh yeah,
my
you had your-
announcement
yeah,
slash
that's right,
fundraiser.
yeah.
It went very well.
That's good.
There were current people that's in office. They came, as well as those seeking office.
Okay.
So yeah, it went very well. I've got to get you a button. I have
I'm
buttons
okay,
and
thank you.
T-shirts. No, you need a button.
I have a button right here. I have a little button right there. See, my suit came with like all these little buttons right here.
Wait a minute. As many
Okay,
times as
okay,
I
okay.
wore
I'm
trippy,
joking. I'm joking. Stop being so
Oh.
sensitive.
Oh, but you was just
Can we go to
sensitive.
break? Can we
Yeah,
go-
we really need to go to break because we need to get on with the show.
Yes, we do.
So our next guest coming on is Big Keith to talk about his town hall meeting.
Okay.
And wait a minute, I got to say hello to my DAP family, Jill McDonald and Joanne and Lucky, who are always supporting me. And Joanne is like my West Side girl. She's canvassing West Side for me.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
All right. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
All right. Just before we go to our interview, I went to a lady named Miss Muriel from Parkview. I think she thinks that we're getting on each other too much, that we're serious. She says she wants us
Oh,
to.
I know Miss Muriel.
She said. She said, "You two stop airing out your differences on air. It doesn't look nice." We're just kidding. We're just kidding, Miss Muriel. We're like,
I know her.
we're not best friends, but we're like pretty close. We're like, I wouldn't say we're this close. We're like this close though, right?
I thought we was this close, Trippy.
But we're just playing around, Miss Muriel. Wayne and I are great friends. If we ever had a disagreement or wanted to argue about anything, we definitely would not do it on air. We would be.
Have we ever had this?
I don't probably, but I don't remember it. I mean, you probably did something wrong. Let me stop. Let me stop. I don't want. Let me stop. Let me stop. But we're just playing. We're just playing, Miss Muriel. It's all love right here. All right, welcome back to the show, Big Key. What's going on, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man.
I'm doing all right. So bring us up to date, man. What you got going on? You got a lot going on.
Yeah, well, now we're doing some town hall meetings, healing our community one vote at a time. It's not a debate. It's for the people, the community, the inner part of the city that seems like it's being left out to engage in the candidates.
Okay.
Back and forth to converse, to ask them questions, because I'm looking at a lot of debates and they're reading questions off of index cards, but the audience don't get a chance to ask a question, you know, or feel like they're a part of it.
Okay, so break it down for me. Like, take me to step one. Like, what is it that you're doing?
Well,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
okay, I'm calling all the candidates.
Okay.
And then, you know, Black Lives Matter.
Right.
And I want to see how many candidates are actually concerned about Black Lives Matter.
Okay, all right.
You know, I know Black Lives Matter gets a lot of bad rap, you know, but in Delaware, I'm trying to switch that up and let people see that it's political, educational, economical, you know, shelter, home, clothing, it's everything. It's just not when a white cop shoots a black cop, you know. And I want to see if these candidates are really going to, you know, show some type of concern for our community.
Okay.
And
I got
when
you.
they come in, we want to ask them questions and engage them. And anything you say can and will be held against you. That's what type of meeting it is.
Okay. All right. So when is the next one?
April 26th,
And where's it going to be?
1009 Sycamore Street on the west side. That's right off of Maryland Avenue. I believe it's the old Polish gymnasium.
Okay.
And it'll be there 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
All right. And who's invited?
Everybody's invited.
Everybody's
Every
invited.
candidate's invited. The community's invited. And we don't have tickets, Dr. Donald Morton. This is not a ticket event. My man's in the green room. But I want it to be more of a laid-back type of atmosphere. I believe that Donald Morton's mayoral debate is going to be the best debate that you will ever see. You know, not, you know, going hard against the news journal, but the community still needs to have our own debate,
Oh,
and that
definitely.
complex of colors
Definitely.
is definitely going to hold them accountable, and hopefully Mayor Williams will show up.
Okay. All right. You so tell us a little bit about Black Lives Matter and that movement.
Black Lives Matter is doing real good.
Okay.
And we're engaging in the communities. We're starting to make ourselves prevalent in all areas. I'm getting a lot of phone calls from people with a lot of major concerns. Nashe Brown, of course, you know about her son that died in, well, I don't want to say died, I almost say murdered in Gander Hill Prison. You know, Jeremy McDowell, the shooting.
Right.
You know, and the list goes on, you know, the list goes on and on. But those two cases are two of the things that I think that we really need to look at, because without the voice of Black Lives Matter, I think that it would just be swept under the rug like it's being swept right now. No answers to anything.
Right.
You know, so we need Black Lives Matter in Wilmington, Delaware.
Tell me what you think when you say Black Lives Matter and then somebody says all lives matter.
Yeah, well, I'm going to keep it clean.
That's what I was going to ask.
I'm going to keep it clean.
All right.
Because when I hear people say all lives matter, if that was the case, it never would be a need to say Black Lives Matter.
Exactly. I read something. I saw something. Maybe it was on Facebook. It was somewhere like on the internet. It says he was breaking down his interpretation of Black Lives Matter. He said, say a group of people are sitting at a table. I don't know if you ever saw this before. He said, say a group of people are sitting at a table, and say Dave. Dave, everybody has food except Dave. So David says, David needs food. Everybody at the table says, everybody needs food. So he said, while it is true that everybody needs food, that doesn't disqualify the fact that David doesn't have any food.
He doesn't have any food.
Everybody else has it.
Right, because everybody else already has it. So I thought that was like a really good analogy of when people say all lives matter. I mean, of course they do, but like you said, that doesn't negate the fact that there are things in the Black community that have that need to be brought to a head, whether it's education, whether it's the prison system,
Jobs.
yeah, jobs. I mean, there's so many
Brother
different,
did play with that. Black
so many
jobs
different
matter.
things. Right,
Yeah.
right. So, like when people say all lives matter, of course they do. Like you said, but if Black lives truly matter, there would be no cry.
But I have a
Right.
question.
Right.
Councilwoman Sherry Dorsey said this when she had her press conference.
Yeah, I was there.
That if Black Lives Matter, then why are so many Black people taking each other's lives? And you do see a lot of people on Facebook saying hashtag Black Lives Matters, and then you find out they're the ones that's shooting another brother.
Well, when you see the, I don't like to say black on black crime. I usually say us on us, and I don't even like to use that term. It's bigger than that right there. You know, you really have to do your homework and study, because if you want to say that Black people are killing Black people, I believe more Caucasians kill Black people than a Black person ever could kill. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at, you know, they say, well, Key, man, you don't really care when when we killing each other. But brother, I've been doing this before I started this thing right here, Black Lives Matter. I've been in the community, Warriors for Christ, the prayer chain, the whole 9 yards. And I always tell people it's like 100 different Stop the Violence organizations in the city of the woman. The brother that's on the camera right now is part of one of them. You know, so they say, well, y'all don't care about black on black stuff. That's a lie. We have to erase that stigma that's coming in our community, because really Caucasians are labeling us like that. And with the propaganda and the subliminal message that they're shooting at African Americans, they're starting to take it on themselves. Like you hear Ray Lewis on YouTube doing all this preaching, but brother, if you do your homework, you will see that you're wrong. You know, and I know Brother Ray probably feels some kind of way, but before you start preaching at us, you got to come talk with us. Because if I had half the loot that Brother Ray Lewis had, I can almost solve the whole problem in the city of Wilmington, you know what I mean? So a lot of African Americans are let off propaganda and subliminal messages that they don't even have a clue. They don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah, I think Black Lives Matter takes a look at the system. I think it critiques the system, like we were just talking about, whether it's jobs, education, rehabilitation, and whether it's in the prisons, whether it's in drug rehabilitation centers. I think that's what that's pointed to. It's not. I don't think that when we say Black Lives Matter, that we, like you said, it doesn't mean that we don't care about black on black crime, but we're looking at just another problem that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
And both can be addressed at the same time, but there is definitely a system. I believe that there is definitely a system that encourages blacks. And not only encourages, but almost, I don't know the right word, but I don't know the word I'm looking for. I don't want to say the wrong word. But there is a system in place that creates black on black crime.
Yeah, and see, that's the whole thing.
Right.
When you take a story, when you start going to the root of the problem,
right, exactly.
That's when you start ruffling feathers. Because when you go to the root of the problem, then they start saying, well, this, and that, because they want to sweep everything over here and have you on this. And see, that's why you see Black Lives Matter focusing on the system.
Right, exactly.
And you see the system bucking, saying, well, all lives matter, and that's the agenda they want to push, because like you said, brothers, it's genocide, gentrification. It's so big, Trip, man. You know what I'm saying? You would need a million hours to talk about that on the show.
I know, that's what I'm thinking.
The stuff and
the same thing.
because the condition that we're in, mass incarceration, the houses. Look at the riverfront. Look at downtown. I call it. So I mean, it's just so evident to see. You know, it's a problem. So when people get mad, it's because they don't want you to shine the light on what they're doing, and that's what Black Lives Matter is doing.
Right, exactly.
Because when you look at it, the guns, the drugs, like they locked me up one time for having drugs twice. They wanted to give me like 15 years for a 20-minute high. You know what I'm saying? But what's his name? El Chapo got, everything coming in. They ain't even looking at El Chapo. They looking at El Kibo. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know what I mean? And that's how it trickles down. I mean, we getting lunch money, hustling money. We're not getting no money. You get a rim in a car. I mean, come on, that's nothing.
I wish we had more time to really talk about it. Like, we need to set aside, I think, like a whole hour just to talk about it.
That's what I was going to say, because it's almost 8:30.
Right,
yeah.
We have 2 more
I don't
guests.
want to eat up too much time.
But
anyway.
wait, no. So recap when and where for us, please.
Okay, Healing Our Community, One Vote at a Time, will be held at 1009 Sycamore Street, Wilmington, Delaware. That's a Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that's Healing Our Community, One Vote at a Time, 1009 Sycamore Street. That's a Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. All candidates are welcome. I even got Mike Przicki to come out.
Okay.
Tom Gordon came out. Who else came out? A couple people. Matt Dinn came out, and I was shocked and surprised that they came out. I didn't want to put them on the panel, but we fell a little short, so we put Tom on the panel and Matt Dinn. Of course, I don't want to have him engage with, the McDole family and getting into questions and stuff we can't talk about before the case. Right. So I told him, just sit there, and just be there. And it showed a lot of support, and it made people want to come more. So I appreciate Matt Dinn for that.
All right. So I'll give you another date before you leave to come back on. All right.
Okay. Yes.
All
That's
right.
beautiful.
All right. So we'll take a very quick break.
Oh, just before that, we got to shout out Sharita. Sharita and Goat, right?
Yes.
Right. Well, give a shout out to Sharita and Goat for watching the show, and also shout out Sharice and Brooke.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna take a really quick break, and we'll be right back.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. So welcome back. Hopefully you are enjoying our show so far. Right now we have someone who's no stranger to the city of Wilmington, no stranger to our show, Dr. Donald Morton.
Thank you for
What's
having
going on,
me, man. Everything's well. How are you?
Good. I'm all right.
Good.
Everything's good, man. So what brings you on tonight?
We wanted to make sure that we talked about the mayoral debate that's
Okay.
coming up. I do want to kind of piggyback on Keith, though, because I think the mayoral debates get a lot of attention. But for the very first time in a very long time, we will have a very greened county or city council, right? And so whoever is going to be mayor, whoever is going to be council president, we need to think very clearly about who those positions, who will hold those positions, and who holds those positions on city council. It's going to be incredibly important.
He's just repeating what I said. I know you can't get on it, but I just said that, Donald. Was you paying attention?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's why. But yeah, I
Yes.
mean, all jokes aside, that's what I said, that
Okay.
that council needs to have still have seasoned
Yes.
people on there.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely the case. So April the 18th.
So why do you believe that?
I believe it because they already have the knowledge and understanding about things that are going on in our government. So not
So
that they're right.
That could be a good or a bad thing, though.
Well, that's true, but that's what I'm saying. Not that they're right, because, and I take it just the you got to search the scriptures for yourself to see if those things are true. So I can at least get some guidance or some information from them, and then I can search and find out for myself if it's right or wrong.
What if they give you all the wrong information?
But I'm going to look to see. That's why I'm already. Well, here's one advantage that I have.
Didn't the sister
because,
already say don't air your dirty laundry?
I
Y'all
know.
fussing all
No,
over
we're not
again.
fussing. We're not fussing. And I think everything happens for a reason. So right now, I am a part of government
So
with.
waiting for city council. I'm running too, Adam.
You haven't announced yet.
I'm running too, buddy. I mean, can you hook up something for me right quick?
He didn't hook that up. He's so crazy. But I'm learning a lot hands-on right now, being with Executive Tom Gordon.
Okay.
So I'm learning those things. So as for me, I can say, okay, yeah, that sounds right, or no, you just blowing wind in my ear.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
All right.
So I mean, I agree with you. There are good and bad points to it, but what we can't afford is a gridlocked conversation where nobody's moving.
Like just
like
just
just
now.
happened is exemplified here, right? So April the 18th is the complexities of color, the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League Young Professionals, IMAC, and the Delaware Young Dems, along with Delaware Black, all came together to have a debate that would specifically address the issues of inner city communities, right? A great deal of the conversation that has happened, and that will happen in the future will speak to the affluent business owners, the riverfront leaders, all those kinds of things. But there's a very real issue in our communities that doesn't always gain the conversation, right? And so that particular debate, unapologetically, is chocolate. It's designed to have voiceless people get their questions answered in a way that doesn't always happen.
Let me tell you who was more important than the mayor, more important than the council, the president of city council, more important than the other 12 members. It's people watching this show.
Yes, sir.
When people realize that whoever is in office,
That's right.
whether it's me, Wayna, you,
Yes, sir.
whoever it is,
Yes, sir.
it doesn't really matter.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it matters to a point, but if people got involved and united and stood for something,
Yes,
there
sir.
is nothing that the mayor could do, nothing that council could do, nothing that the governor could do that the masses couldn't overturn
Yes, sir.
or make happen.
Yes, sir.
So so many times, so much we get caught up in who's going to be the next mayor. I need to be this person. Who's going to be the president of city council? Who's going to be this council person? Who's going to be the governor? Who's going to be the whatever? I mean, that stuff is important, but it's not as important as the hundreds of thousands of other people of the constituents.
I agree
who-
with that.
who
But
get together in March and
You do?
Yes.
You agree with
and,
that?
do, I
and
do.
boycott and say, look,
I agree
you
with
can, you
that.
can say this, mayor, or you can say this, but this is what we want. And he's going to flip.
But and I agree with that to a certain extent, right?
Okay.
But the other thing is that the masses of people of which you speak are the ones that are supposed to elect these individuals. These
Right.
individuals are supposed to represent the interest of those masses of people that,
Right.
that you're talking about. And a part of I think what our job is, to your point, is to make sure that whoever is in office, we can shake hands today, but I'm on you tomorrow,
Right.
To make sure that there is a pressure applied to you to do your job. And if you don't do your job, and we're watching to make sure that we grade you, that we listen to what you promise, and if you promised it, you're gonna have to perform it. And if you don't perform it, then we're gonna go shopping for a new candidate.
But we can't, like, that's the whole problem, though.
Okay.
Because you got to wait 4 years to shop for another candidate. And we can't keep on depending on, like, elected officials to make a difference if they're not making a difference. That's why we got to take it back to the 60s.
I absolutely agree with that. But it's not either or, it's and both.
Right, okay.
Right? It's the ability to make sure that we are doing our homework, that we have intelligent electorates, to make sure that we are choosing the right candidates, and that they are not professional campaigners that can just show up at the meetings and just by virtue of visibility, we elect them. We got to do homework.
Photo ops and all of that.
Photo ops, I mean, all that's brilliant. Dr. Lawrence Livingston in one of our meetings said that we are electing professional campaigners. The question is, can you do the job? And are you going to do the job on behalf of the most vulnerable of our communities? I believe, theologically and philosophically, that the responsibility of government is to protect the most vulnerable of our community. And if they are not doing that, if they're only speaking to those that are power brokers, then we have a greater problem. And that's why the April 18th mayoral debate is so very, very
Amen.
important.
That's good.
We've got to make sure that we are listening to candidates, that we are holding them accountable, and that we are checking the box for the best possible candidate that's going to protect the most vulnerable of our society.
Right. And I do agree with that. I don't want to make it seem like government isn't important. I mean, it is.
Yeah, yes, sir.
But we got to stop solely depending on elected officials to make things happen.
Yes, sir.
Because most elected officials either won't or can't make things happen the way they need to happen, in my opinion. Like, our education system is terrible. We're spending meetings and all these monies and all these different meetings, committee meetings, and all this stuff to do something that we already know how to do.
Yes, sir.
But they're just putting us through the ringer.
You know what's
But
amazing?
if we went to Dover and sat down and didn't move
Yes.
for weeks,
Yes,
days,
yes.
it would change.
Yes, I agree.
And that's what your mom did.
I agree with
That's
that.
what your grandfather did.
Yes.
But now we're just hoping that the mayor can do it, or hoping that the governor would do it. or
No,
hoping that-
I think again, man, respectfully, I think it's and both, right? Whoever's going to be our next mayor, I think your point is a valid one. What Mom did, what Pop did, was place that kind of pressure on elected officials to do their job, right? And I think we have to go back to that. That is the reason for which I'm excited about Black Lives Matter and Key. I'm excited about Keandra McDowell, who sits in the middle of the street, to your point, to continue to shed light on issues, right? I think that's incredibly important. I think we have to go back to the 60s. I absolutely agree with that. But our system is set, in a way that we have to honor the system that we have. We kind of deal with the hand that's dealt us. And a part of that is electing officials that will do the job for us.
So recap, when?
April
where?
18th, 7 o'clock p.m., Ezon Fair Baptist Church, 1400 B Street.
And how do people get
Southbridge.
tickets?
There's only 50 tickets left.
Okay.
So you have to go online, www.delawareblack.com.
Okay.
And you can also sign up to be a part of a focus group. For those, a lot of the individuals that are going to be there are undecided voters, and we want to hear whether or not the debate moves the needle one way or the other.
I'll have you come back on to talk about how it went.
Yeah, I would be honored.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
All
You're
right, thank you.
welcome.
So we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back.
Good evening and welcome back to the Congo Hour. We really hope that you are taking the information that is given to you and not only be hearers of what we're saying, but be doers. Make sure that your vote definitely counts by making sure that you select the candidate that you believe that will do their best to accomplish the things that need to be accomplished. And with that being said, we're going to bring on our next guest, who is City Council President Theo Gregory, who is seeking to be the next mayor of Wilmington. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thank you all for having me. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
You're welcome. So I want to ask, are you excited about the 18th, the debate?
Oh, I'm excited about all the debates and the forums we're going to have. I'm studying and trying to figure out how I'm going to answer questions. But a lot of, for me, over the last 20 or 30 years, it's kind of embedded in me. I don't think I have to do that much studying. I have to get some specifics down, but I'm very excited, yes.
Okay.
How come you decided to run for mayor?
Well, let me say it this way. Dennis Williams is my friend. I want to put that out there. But in a professional relationship, we have differences. I told Dennis probably about 9 to 12 months ago, we were having breakfast and J Street was there at the Hotel DuPont. I said, you know, Dennis, a lot of folk may run against you. My goal was to be president, this time run again and run again. I said, but you know, in fairness to me in my public servant career, if one person lines up against you and two people line up against you and three, you know, fairness to me, I got to give it my shot also. So with that said, I'm running because I believe that I can lead the city and I can make some positive things happen in the city of Wilmington. And I have some policy ideas that I like to see executed in the city of Wilmington. And I'm a leader. I used to apologetically say that and talk about myself, but I found over the last decade, and it goes back to Moyer, and we put that together. I believe that I can lead and make a difference in the city of Wilmington. I love my city. I love the people in the city of Wilmington, and I just believe that on my journey in life, and through my prayers, really, and I think it's God's will at this point in time that this is what I'm supposed to do. And if I don't do it, I'm going to be at peace. I'm at peace if I do it, and if I don't win, I'm at peace. I'll be as at peace as I am now. And if someone is saying there, he's saying God told him to do it. No, God didn't tell me to do it. I prayed, and God said, yeah, you give it your shot. It's okay to give it your shot because wherever I come out, it's going to be his will and not mine.
So out of all the candidates, what makes you stand out the most?
I think it's my credentials as an attorney. I worked in poverty law. I was a federal prosecutor. I've had a private practice. I was an assistant U.S. attorney. I've negotiated with some of the top lawyers in the state in terms of criminal law and civil law. I understand issues. I understand how to leverage. I understand how to bring people together. I believe I've been involved in a number of events that shows that I'm a team builder. I can bring people together and try to hold them together to get something done. I'm a person that looks for common ground. It don't have to be my way every time. It has to be common ground in trying to get some things done. I can be adamant about some things, but I think it's my credentials and my experience. And it was interesting, you all were talking earlier, and I think my wisdom. I remember when I was a young man riding alone, I come back from law school and I had an uncle, he was driving me and I'm boastful about I'm a lawyer. He said, let me tell you something, all you got is some knowledge. Get you some wisdom.
Right.
And I think that at this point in time in my life, I have some wisdom to give back, and that's important, It's going to be very important with this mayor and council because we're going to have a young or a new council.
Right.
So it's going to be the lack of wisdom, not knowledge, but some wisdom that's going to be needed. And then I think you need to have a strong mayor to deal with that also. So credentials, experience, wisdom, and some evidence of what I've done over the years shows that I can get things done. I can literally get things done. I take pride in the fact of fixing things and getting things done.
What do you think needs to be fixed in Wilmington?
I think that the obvious is public safety.
Right.
And I've put together a public safety plan, have not published it, don't know if I'm going to publish it or not. I've talked to a former police chief. I've talked to current police officers, and I've asked them to lay out for me and diagram for me what the deployment plan should be in the city of Wilmington. How do we get more officers on the street? How do we civilianize and get more officers on the street? What should the command structure look like? How do we get community policing involved? How do we do a mobile tactical force? And I believe that once you put all these things together, and also how do you change the culture of the Wilmington Police Department? And I've gotten some understanding of that, but that starts at the top.
Right.
You put a plan in place, you execute your plan, you stay responsive to your plan, and you stay on message. And I take pride, and I have taken pride in doing that in a number of venues my entire life. So public safety, education. Now, no, we can't bring back a school system, but certainly what we can do is create an Office of Education and Public Policy, an Office of Education and Public Policy. We need to have a voice in educating our kids. That's very important to me.
When you say, what do you mean, Wilmington?
Wilmington.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
when you talk about education, you talk about the federal government. And I think the federal government needs to get out of it and just give block grants to the state. They need to get out of business. When you talk about education, you talk about the state, you talk about DOE, you talk about Rodale Foundation, and you talk about Cesar Wright Institute. I want you to reflect and say, what conversation have you been in when someone said, City of Wilmington? Don't say City of Wilmington. Well, we're 72,000 people. We're the largest city in the state of Delaware. Why don't we have a voice in education? We did when we had the Wilmington School District, when the charter was put in place. But things changed. There is no district now. Therefore, we have to find a way to get that voice, to be proactive, to influence, to persuade, to do our research, and to be at the table when people are discussing how we're going to educate our kids. Public safety, education. I also believe that we need to take the, I'm going to give you one more with the others, because I got like 14 plans that I've written up and I have on paper. The Office of Constituent Services should be the Office of Constituent Services and Community Engagement. So that office shouldn't be an office where you're calling into and they're answering questions. Folk in that office have to get out of that office and go to the community. We got to find a way to engage the community. Now, I've found one particular niche that I want to do, and that is when I've gone around to senior centers, and I've been to 11 or 12 thus far, and I find that they have questions that aren't being answered. So I believe that in that Office of Constituent Services and Community Engagement, one person should be dedicated to seniors. And I've told the seniors, as mayor, they're going to get a magnet, they're going to put it on their refrigerator, they're going to have a name and a face of the person that they call into the Office of Constituent Services. We can't fix everything for them. But their frustration is they don't get answers. You're going to get an understanding of what's going on. If we can fix it, we'll fix it, but we're going to give you an understanding of what's going on. And that person would be charged with going in the community on a quarterly basis and doing what I'm doing now, breaking bread with you and looking at you so that you can get familiar with them so that you can feel comfortable. Community engagement and constituent services. So those are three, but there are others. There are others that I could talk about, but those are three.
Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have time for you to talk about the others, but we'll definitely have you back on.
I appreciate that.
And make it a time where you can have more time to discuss your platform. I don't know if this question can be answered in a few minutes, but why do you think there isn't a like a Wilmington school district anymore?
Well,
I think that was a plan?
That was a mistake. I believe it was a mistake to get rid of the Wilmington School District. I really believe it. Again, Brown versus Board of Education was decided in 1954. At that time, the discrimination in public education was just obvious. It was blatant. And when that decision was made to fix it, you had to cut the heart out of the system and just rebuild the system. So if we had done in 1954 what we did in 1978, that may have been okay. But by the time 1978 came around, you didn't need to take the heart out of the system. You just needed to tinker with it. Brown versus Board of Education was about equity and parity. It wasn't about forced integration. And the hallmark and the strength of a community is its schools.
That's right.
It's neighborhood schools. So I attribute a lot of the foolishness in our community now as starting back in 1978.
Okay.
I really believe that if we ran some numbers and went back and see when we started a lot of the crime and a lot of the negatives in our community, it's 1978. So the reason why we don't have a district now, one, there's no political will to do that. Two, there's a fear that it would be an impoverished district because of choice and charter and private schools and Christian academies. All of those parents with wherewithal would get their kids out of the city and you just have a lot of poor kids being educated in the system. So that's the reason why it's not being done now. That's the
Right.
reason.
Okay. All right. So, as Trippy said, we'll definitely have you back on. While he's going to go get the funeral announcements, I love the fact that you want to give special attention to our seniors.
Absolutely.
They're very dear to me because a lot of them are the ones that raised us. Like, I was
Right.
raised by my grandparents.
Right.
So to have someone to cater to them, I love that.
There's something else about the seniors, but I don't think government can do it because it would just be too much. And I know you got to go to something else, and that's this. You know, when 100 and some people live on top of one another, they have conflicts. So they need to have some kind of conflict resolution training and or someone in the building to address their conflicts. Because we're people. We unintentionally bump into one another. We intentionally bump into one another. But I hear a lot of frustration that we need someone to help work us through our issues, not just understanding issues in the community, but also in terms of I'm mad at this one and this one is mad at me and they left their music on too high. Somebody needs to really work through those issues. It would be good. And they should be at peace. They're seniors and they should be at peace. I'm going to shut up.
Do you want us to take a real quick break and come back to you, or if you want to?
Yeah, we'll take a really quick break. Before that, can you give people your contact information?
I'm going to give you my cell, 562-3117. My
Wait a minute, say it slower.
562-3117 is my cell.
Okay.
I'm at theogregoryformayor.com. And Wayna, I really believe you're going to make a great council person with your wisdom. You'll be new in terms of knowledge, but you'll be, I don't want to date you as being too old, but you did say you're 50. So,
Trippy said it.
but I think
yeah.
at 50, you got some wisdom. So I think
Thank
you're going to do
you.
good for city council.
Thank you.
wanna
I
say that.
appreciate that.
We'll take
So
a
we-
really
A
quick
blink of an
break,
eye,
and
Trippy
I'll
will be
right
back.
All right.